Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Tello, back to you with another World of Warcraft video. As you see, I am fully recovered. We're not wearing the suit. The Italian mafia ain't after me. They ain't on my back. I paid them off with the YouTube dep. Everything's okay. We're alright. The suit's in the closet, and we're just keeping it casual, alright? Cool dad casual situation on this beautiful Friday morning, which is technically not a Monday in my books. It is a Friday. Let's keep it as a Friday. Well, actually, no, it's Friday afternoon. It's 4:14 p.m. Technically Monday for some of you, but we're going to just consider it a Friday for sure, just so we can get on with our lives and get to the weekend. As always, the Hydration Nation, keeping it 100 with you all the time, because if I keep it 99, I'm leaving you 1% out of the situation, you know what I'm saying? Back up, I'll French kiss you. A little tongue action, settle down. YouTube and Minecraft, we're keeping it friendly. Don't expose the channel, lock it in. However, today, guys, we are going over something that I actually saw last night during my stream. Hello, Jay Tello, by the way, on twitch.tv. And we were watching Bellier's video, and it was really cool and interesting to see the perspective of the Blizz devs getting together and talking about the rise and falls of their subscriber count and how about the timeline of where they messed up with things and how they're improving on things. And I really like to see this kind of stuff because this is the type of stuff I used to actually do in my field for, like, data analytics that I used to do in the IT profession. And we would go over, trends and quarterly results and positive, neutral, negative feedback, and put these into charts and graphs and basically review them on a weekly analysis and monthly as well. So this is really cool. By the way, this dude's baked as shit. He's got to be off the Eddie. Look at him. Cooked as hell. Much respect to this guy. Give this dude a clap in the comments. However, stoners in the chat, take care of that. However, we're going to go over 4 things today. We're going to go over the charts and graphs of what Blizz was showing. So it looks like in Graph 1, they basically expected the reliable subcurve all the way through Shadowlands through Dragonflight. And this right here is basically their trajectory image or where they thought the game was going to go during the time frame as well with, Burning Crusade Classic and Wrath of the Lich King Classic, and where they expected the game to be. So all this stuff right here in the circle is in a nutshell. Don't mind if you see TBC Classic and Wrath on the lower end, because it actually did have a high end. This is just a combination of a nutshell of where their sub count was going. We can all see all the way from this, even the start of the Legion days, when things were really picking up in Legion, and Legion was a good expansion, and we could see the fall, which normally happens because after, the end of a phase or the end of an era, things fall out, and it's okay. It's normal for things to die down for a bit, then to rise again. And we see this with every time a new expansion comes out, a bull spike or a massive drop off. But we also see consistency when we see things like World of Warcraft Classic era during 2019. The hype for that was massive. It was insane, and it was a beautiful time to be playing World of Warcraft. Everybody was back on Classic. It was very fun. People were, the community was entertaining, and everybody was just hyped for like the next things coming out. And the ride of Classic era overall was enjoyable, even though things died off in the end with Wrath of the Lich King, where kind of got ruined by the bots overall. World of Warcraft Classic and TBC Classic era were very fun times and very enjoyable times. And then we get into Shadowlands, where Shadowlands kind of fails to meet the mark, and a lot of things just get thrown around everywhere. Some people are just not impressed with the gameplay overall. They don't enjoy the events and the things to do. They're not enjoying the mythic rating. They're not enjoying the PvP. Hell, they're not even enjoying the lore itself. They're not too enthusiastic about the jailer and the stuff going on with Sylvanas. And the lore overall is not at its highest point and where it should be. We see a massive fall off from Shadowlands, as natural, because I played Shadowlands and I did the Torghast and stuff like that and the jailer events, and I wasn't a fan of it. It just wasn't. I wasn't captivated like I was during Classic, especially coming from Classic. Going to Shadowlands, it was just a massive diff, a massive difference. And the sense of community over there in Classic and the gameplay world feel overall was just a better time. It's something that you can't compare the two, It's like having like a beautiful steak in front of you, and then someone telling me I'm just gonna get some McDonald's, fries and burgers. It's like, no, dude, let me rock this ribeye right now, medium rare, medium well done, however you want. I like medium rare, medium well, it's fine. Beautiful steak with a loaded baked potato compared to some dog shit, Just my opinion, but we get to see the reality of things, right? Now, this is what actually happened, and Shadowlands takes a massive deep down, not even up to their trajectory. It doesn't look good, and it takes a pretty big fall and then we get into the rise of where they try to hit Dragonflight at a certain expectancy, which fails to meet that marker. Dragonflight, from what I've heard, because I didn't play Dragonflight, but I did have some friends that played Dragonflight, and they tell me there's a lot of things they improved on overall, as far as gameplay and the world itself. The lore is not as intriguing. I do believe the dragging lore is not as exciting as people thought it was going to be, but overall, it is not as bad as Shadowlands. And Dragonflight is definitely a hefty improvement, is in terms of the armor ratings, the PvP, the catch-up mechanics, the class in-depthness of the class, how classes feel overall, feel really cool, from what I heard. And you guys can leave me your comments below if you believe it doesn't feel like this, because this is just information I'm going off of base of people that have played retail. But I've heard a lot of good things. Overall, though, it's a step up, at least an improvement from what Shadowlands was. Now, as we go further in, we can go into the next chart here, and they go over basically the story settings, the gameplay, and the community. Now, they basically go into story setting about how Afterlife setting wasn't accessible, new antagonists wasn't developed, and well-known story heroes were diminished. And this has been a problem with like WoW lore for a long time now. I would say after Legion more than anything, and especially when Metzen stepped down, around the 2016 era. Things weren't really looking too solid overall. I mean, we're coming from, Classic, where we had so many, amazing, cool fights, like, going against, Kel'Thuzad, Cthulhu, Ragnaros, etc. And then, or Onyxia. And then we go from, Illidan to Arthas. And then, in Legion, we have Sargeras, and we're going through all these really, cool, type of characters. And then after Legion, things start to really fall off where I don't feel the investment of where the WoW lore is expanding into, where I feel the sense of being scared or invested into a main antagonist of who is this next baddie, who is this next intriguing, well developed, rich background, very cool lore style of a villain that is inflicting upon Azeroth, or is tearing groups apart. I didn't feel that, and I feel like a lot of people have some issues with where the lore is even right now. I do think the War Within has a lot of potential ever since they brought Metzen back, and we can see some really interesting things where like how characters progress, especially people like Anduin. Where are we gonna go with this? And go from there. There's a lot of very intriguing ideas they might have on paper that we're not aware of, and I'm looking forward to the brighter days for WoW lore, because I do think they have something that they can work with, especially with the next 3 expansions. But I do think, yeah, after Legion, things really started to fall off, and I wasn't ever really too invested into the lore after 2016. I just, more of anything, was just into the gameplay or into playing Classic. To keep it a buck with you, wasn't really too suckered into WoW lore. As much as I love lore of video games, I mean, hell, one of my favorite games, like I've always tell my friends, I love like Soul series games. I love Elden Ring. The lore in Elden Ring is fucking awesome. And there's a lot of games with rich lore that is actually enjoyable, and they're worth putting your time into. But it felt like WoW was just kind of falling off. Wasn't a big fan really of like the Shadowlands stuff with like Sylvanas. It didn't really intrigue me too much. Like the tear between worlds within herself, and and Anduin, even he had his ups, his downs. But I wasn't really too excited with her, and like the cracking of the Ice Crown, opening up the Shadowlands. I don't know. It didn't sell me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But I'll leave that at that. For any lore Andes, you guys can have your comments in the video and talk about where you think the lore is going to go, and if you're excited for any future WoW lore. As far as gameplay, systems didn't evolve with player expectations, borrowed power, and not enough variety. I just feel like, yeah, Shadowlands was like, when I stopped playing around that time, it just felt boring. Doing Torghast over and over again, and like, finding like group finder and getting into dungeons. I didn't feel like it was just too exciting. It didn't feel fresh. It didn't feel new. Not like this really interesting, rejuvenating experience. And I know in Dragonflight it's probably better, but overall, I just wasn't too enthralled by it. and it didn't captivate me whatsoever. So I basically fell off and went back to Classic just from my experience. For anybody that was Dragonflight players, please leave your comments below on what you felt was the pros and cons of Dragonflight. I would love to read them thoroughly. And what did you enjoy about the gameplay of Dragonflight? What did it keep you invested even to the end of the expansion? And what was it that kind of threw you off and left you with a bad taste, in your mouth, basically saying that this is not what I thought WoW would be? I would actually really be invested to see those comments. And for community, gaps in content, lack of transparency, and didn't feel heard. Now, I feel like overall, for this right here, this has always been kind of a thing for Blizzard to have a problem with, because this has been an issue been going on for a long time in World of Warcraft, where a lot of people feel like they're not heard. The Blizzard devs are not being transparent with them and being honest about their decisions, and the content is it's either too easy to clear, or it's too hard, or there's not enough, right? And there's just you do everything and there's no ever potential growth to expand from this. And that's been an issue for a long time, and currently right now it is happening in Season of Discovery, where Sod right now is going on almost a 2 weeks hiatus of no information of being discussed on what's the future of Season of Discovery. I'm really actually concerned with the current progress of where the dev team in Agron is heading right now, because they do have people working on Cata, which we're going to comment on here in a second. We will go into the full cam, which I appreciate the editor today. He's doing a good job. But let's continue forward, and I will mention more stuff about the community stuff, and then we'll go from there. We reestablish the relationship with our players. Now, this is something that's really important for a company to do, because at the end of the day, if you don't establish a grounding with your player base and show your player base that you truthfully care about the player first, and expanding on the player wanting to keep playing this game, giving them a reason to log in or play this game every day, you're not going to have a good player base. Your market will fall off, your margins will fall off, everything will basically shut down, and the company will do dog shit and eventually go bankrupt. So you have to connect with the players no matter what at the end of the day, to make them feel heard, to make them feel wanted and accepted within your community, because at the end of the day, it's the player base that grows the game, and it's the player bases within the player base that grow the community overall, therefore creates the MMO experience within World of Warcraft, right? So it all starts with us first. And I really think they need to take a look at here on what was the most important parts of their journey since 2016 all the way to currently 2024. And if we look at it, we could see during 2016, this was when the height of the hype of WoW was there. And especially with Classic going into 2019, and breaking into 2022, 2023 with Burning Crusade and Wrath. Even though Wrath did fall off towards his midlife end cycle, with just due to how many fucking bots were in that game, it was just not good overall. But I do think people did have fun with it, and Classic Era in general was still a success. But then we get into Dragonflight, which definitely did have the improvements over Shadowlands. But this is where things start to dramatically change, and this is where we're going to get into the portion of Season Discovery more in this video as well, because this is during halfway through 2023 into 2024, or I wouldn't even say, around that time after Dragonflight, Hardcore Official comes out. Now, we've played private Hardcore before Hardcore WoW was out, and then you had, the little Hardcore meter or add-on that basically announced who would die in the world, right? But there was ways to manipulate that, and a lot of people were either cheating or fucking around with it, and it wasn't really too official. It wasn't like legitimate. And then Hardcore became a thing, right? And then it came out, and now we see the growth. If we were to have an imaginary line right here, like just a little check mark of a stoppage point right here halfway through 2023, you could see when Hardcore WoW comes out, boom, boom. Sod comes out maybe around this time, boom, boom, and the roof is getting blown off this bitch. And why is it? Is because you're releasing the versions of WoW that people loved, but not only that, you're giving the player base what they want. You're reestablishing the relationship with your player base. And Season of Discovery is what everybody wanted. Hardcore WoW is what everybody wanted. Now, Season of Discovery, it's not the Classic Plus we thought we wanted, but it's getting to the point where people could see the potential when they started playing, Phase 1. You gave us the new raids, the new PvP events, a lot of new things and areas to explore. It was very exciting. However, in Phase 2, I feel like it is starting to dim down a bit I do think Nomergon is very fun. I do think there's a lot of cool, still new, exciting things that you're starting to give us. But I do see massive more growth of potential that they could be giving us. But the problem is right now is what we have right here, Cataclysm. Now, this is the portion of the video where we have to be real with you. I do think also, where before I even enter that portion, um, I think a part of this hype too, from this this bull spike trajectory that we are having, it's not like a massive bull spike like classic era where it just shot up. It's looking like a consistent spike, which is really good. You want consistency in a chart rather than just only a bull spike then a massive drop off. So this is a consistent wave, which is huge potential for Blizzard right here. This shows a massive growth opportunity for a trajectory of good things to come and consistency, which brings core value to your profits and margins overall, and just the community in general playing WoW. Because at the end of the day, we're not going to get back to that point where it was like 10 to 15 million players playing sub concurrently WoW. It's the best game overall. There's too many good games out nowadays. But you can make this MMO still be the dominant MMO no matter what. It still is, right? But it can have an enter in the scene again where you can have a diversity of all different types of players coming to play World of Warcraft if certain changes are being made. Now, my thoughts on Cataclysm. I think the fact that they are taking from the dev team of SOD to work on Cata, in my personal opinion, is a mistake. I'm just going to say it. And maybe you can agree with me or disagree with me. That's fine. I understand, they got other expansions they're working on too, like the War Within. I think that's another reason for their chart growth and future expansions. But I think stuff like this is not it. I understand Guardians of the Dream. That's another thing that they're being worked on. But overall, Cata is not the thing I think the focus needs to be on. I saw the reshade texture packs and stuff on the Wowhead that they, the assets they're putting towards Cata to make the game look visually a little better. But overall, I think you have something really good right now with Season of Discovery. I think SOD is the selling point right now of World of Warcraft and War Within, of course. But I don't think Cata is the answer. I think it's in this weird middle state right now where people are just coming off of WRAF and they're about to end their Cata. Now, I do think WRAF players will enjoy Cata, and I do think retail players, of course, if they've already played Cata, they would enjoy it too. But there's this weird grounding where now you have the World of Warcraft classic players. Are they going to go to Cata? And also the people who played WRAF who were burnt out of that, are they going to go to Cata and want more of that experience? Or are they just going to come to Season of Discovery? Because I really feel like right now, the selling points of World of Warcraft was hardcore WoW, SOD, currently, still right now, and War Within. And Cata's in this weird middle ground. Like, it's very gray. I have a lot of friends that are saying, and these are just buddies of mine reporting you what I'm about to tell you. They give 0 fucks about Cataclysm. 0. I have more friends and buddies who have not even touched WoW, who are coming from FF14 or other MMOs, or not even an MMO in general. Other games, like fighting games, like Tekken and shit like that. Just in general. Come in to fucking play World of Warcraft Season of Discovery just because it's SOD. New rune system, obviously, new quests to do, certain new quests to do, not many different new quests. New raids, though, PvP events, they're just coming back to World of Warcraft because it's a simple time of playing the game. And this is where I feel like this is what you need to do. I think more hands on deck need to be on Season of Discovery and grow this game overall. Because if you truthfully want to get to that Classic Plus experience, I do appreciate what Agron said, where he was talking about, I have a landline ringing in the background. It's my mother. Don't hate me for that. She needs it, all right? So settle down and lock it in. However, I really think what I was trying to say was you really need to have more hands on deck when it comes to Season of Discovery overall. The livelihood and what this game can provide to get to that Classic Plus is so massive. There is so much potential with the rebalancing of classes to fix classes where they need to be and should be, and the world to expand itself within Azeroth to add more fun style of content within Classic overall is the key and element to grow this game, to expand Classic within Classic and keeping it Classic, and that is the ultimate goal. Now, yes, you can add these runes and add these different style of abilities. You could fix up the issues with classes that always had problems overall, but definitely grow areas of the game that we've never seen before, from new quests to more new raids to more new dungeons. Even if you want, messing around with lore within classic is totally fine. I mean, stuff like what we're seeing from Zalatoff and Ilari, this is stuff we talked about in this channel. So I'm telling you right now, SOD has this potential that no other version of WoW has right now. Not even hardcore, not even War Within. SOD has something special here, for sure, that is unique to itself. Of course, War Within is unique to itself, and Classic Hardcore has that style of game to offer to the player base. But SOD is something that has exponential potential. The growth cap to it is really huge, and I really think if they continue to focus on Cata, they are missing out on a mark, and they could potentially make SOD a wasted experience overall in the long run, which I'm a little concerned about. I don't want this thing just dying off like Season of Mastery. I think SOD has potential to grow and maybe intertwine into Classic Plus, if they call it that, or if it converts to that. That's something that I want to see, and I think a lot of the player base wants to see. There's many ideas that we have and we can discuss about the growth and healthy future of World of Warcraft SOD. But when they, when I see stuff like them taking people and work on Cata, it diverts attention away from what's going good for them right now, and why I think players, a majority of players, are playing WoW right now. It's not because the end of an expansion for Dragonflight. It's not because of only hardcore WoW. It's Season of Discovery, which is, carrying right now, currently, World of Warcraft, in my opinion. I truthfully think it's the best version of WoW. Now, I do think, Cata is not 100% totally not a waste of time, but I would say have more of a smaller team work on Cata and have a bigger team work on SOD, if anything. Cata is just going to be reintroducing Cataclysm. That's all it is. And just a reshade. SOD is something new. SOD is something different. And you have put more hands on deck to Season of Discovery compared to that. That's just my opinion. That's all I want to say about that. And now I know they also have the stuff with, with Plunderstorm. And just to comment on that one more time, I'm telling you right now, if they don't do Plunder free to play, I think that game's dead in the next 8 months. Just gonna say it. Probably 8 months to a year. That game will die. If they make that shit just locked behind a 15 paywall and not make it its own entity, that game's dead. So I'm just going to throw that out there and say it right fucking now. Besides that, that's all I got to say for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I really, I care about the future of Season of Discovery. I want them to truthfully work on it with all hands on deck, full attention to detail. And, at the end of the day, I really think Season of Discovery is the one unique experience of World of Warcraft where it's bringing players from all types of diversified areas, as far as boomers, as far as, retail Andes, like parsing nerds, as far as, lore Andes, as far casual players, everywhere. That's what makes SOD unique, is that it puts us all into one community. And yeah, we're bickering heads with each other. We're all, jerking off in some type of way in Minecraft, settled down. However, at least we're one community under one flag in World of Warcraft. America, brother. However, you know what I'm saying? We're one community. Instead of being split off into, your hardcore Andes, your War Within it. No, we're under one community, and SOD is what's working, is what I'm getting at. However, that's it. Much love, amigos. I hope you enjoyed the video. I gave you my full attention. I don't know if you deserved it. However, you got me to 2K. You're doing pretty damn good. Much love. I'll catch you in the next one. Keep on keeping on. And as usual, I'll see you. Peace, amigos. Editor, you better end the video when I say it, because I'll hit you right now. I'll slap the shit out. If you wanna dance.